Hey everybody, and welcome to The Musician's Musician. My name is Nick Costa, and this week is going to be a little different because I just released my new album. It's called When the Lights Go Out. I thought I would just take this week to kind of just talk about the record. So the guest is myself, and we're just going to go kind of song by song. We're going to listen to clips of it. I might even toss in a couple of clips of like some of the demos just for context. We'll see what happens. This is not scripted. I'm just going to go. I'm just going to talk about it. So I'm very, very excited. And just before we get into the episode, I just want to say that I'm really proud of this record. I just think it's good. I think it's a good record. Not that I think my other records are bad by any means, but I think this one is just really special, and it hit me in like writing the songs kind of caught me in a weird time in my life where I kind of needed to write these more so than my other records, with the exception of maybe some of the Devastator stuff. So and some of that thematically kind of bleeds over, but we'll talk about that. So yeah, let's just get into it.
When the lights go out, when my sun burns black, when my soul creeps out, when my heart bleeds back, will there be rejoice? Will you hold my hand? Would you even be there? Would I understand?
So the album starts off with the title track, When the Lights Go Out, which is, pretty self-explanatory if you listen to the lyrics. It's really kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a way to like question mortality, what happens after we die. I was kind of experiencing a lot of death. We were coming out of, lockdown. We didn't really know what was going on with the pandemic. I wrote this probably in like 2022, I want to say, maybe 2021. I'd have to go check and see when the demo was recorded, but it was a little while ago. And we were in Vancouver, BC when I wrote it. And a friend of mine, Leah Ottman, had just passed away, and it was unexpected. And there was just a lot of loss, and I didn't really know how to deal with that. So I just kind of wrote this tune, and it's just basically just being like, what happens? Where do we go? Do we go anywhere? And melodically, and the way the song is written, and the reason why I wanted this to be kind of the first song is because I was going for like a, what if Randy Newman was doing like Willie Nelson songs, basically. And I feel like it's got that. It's got the kind of Willie Nelson song structure with Randy Newman's kind of melodic structure. And I was going through a really big Randy Newman phase. I was going through a really big Willie Nelson phase. Never got out of those phases. Still in those phases, if I'm being honest with you. And I think I captured that really well. So the demo has like kind of fake strings on it, and for like the solo part, or the bridge, I guess you would say, I did like a Willie Nelson guitar solo with my acoustic plugged into the amp, and I thought it was actually pretty cool. But when Trevor Wagon, who did all the string arrangements on this, reached out to me, he kind of like cold reached out. He's like, "Hey, I'm looking to do arrangements for folks, and I know that you write a lot of songs. Do you have any songs that I could do some string arrangements on. And I was just like, yeah, actually, this was the song that I thought of. And then I was like, actually, I think I have like a whole record that I could use you on if you'd be down. And he was down. So this was kind of like the catalyst for the whole record, basically. I had written, I have like a batch of songs kind of written at all times, ready to go. But this was like the song that made me go like, I think I want to make a record around this. So that was When the Lights Go Out.
Drop by and say that I was reminded of your birthday when I saw the cherry blossoms on your lawn. It's like the earth had thrown a party. Maybe you
The next song is Cherry Blossom. Cherry Blossom is an interesting one. We recorded that, me and JT Bates, who, if you don't know JT Bates, he's like a legendary drummer. He's drummed for Taylor Swift. He's drummed for Ed Sheeran. He has drummed for Big Red Machine, which is like the National and Bon Iver. He drums for Bonnie Light Horseman. The list goes on and on and on. If you go to his website and you see his discography, it's wild. It's Andrew Bird. Like it's kind of insane the amount of people that he has played with. I got kind of hooked up with him because me and him were doing a session for a songwriter named Undara. And we were playing together and doing the studio session, and we hit it off. And then he was just like, hey, if you ever need drums on something, let me know. And like I was planning on recording a bunch of stuff just in our room and basically just doing some acoustic stuff. And I was like, well, if I could work with JT Bates, I could probably scrounge up enough cash to get some studio time. So JT set us up in River Rock, which is in Northeast Minneapolis. And we tracked that song live, my vocals, my guitar, and his drums. We did that for, let's see, it was Cherry Blossom, it was Sierra, and it was Torn Away, which is the next song on the record. So, yeah, and like the song meaning, I don't want to get too into, sorry if that's disappointing, but like long and short of it, it's just like, if you have been underappreciated or, there's these groups of people who claim to care about you and they don't act like it. It's a really confusing thing. So to navigate that is difficult, and it's dizzying. And so I think that this song was kind of to portray that feeling a little bit. And yeah, that's Cherry Blossom.
If you had waited as long as I waited. If you'd have worked as hard as I've been, and you'd be crying like I've been crying when it all gets torn away. And if you break.
The next song is Torn Away, and Torn Away actually is an older song. I think I wrote that in like 2020 or 2021. I had originally written it in this like cool open C tuning that I have, like a lot of my record, Tell My Mother I Love Her is in that tuning. A couple songs on Sunbleach are in that tuning. And I just kind of wrote it as like this country song, basically. I have this like batch of country songs that I'm like planning on making into a record someday. I really want to make like a classic country record, and every now and then I just like dip into that batch of songs and this is kind of one of those. But yeah, it's just it was written kind of during lockdown and the uncertainty of COVID, and I was finding out that I am immunocompromised just due to a blood condition that I have, and I didn't know if I would ever play shows again. I didn't know if I would ever make music again. And I felt like I was kind of building momentum. And so this song is kind of, written after all of these shows and tours and stuff got canceled. And there was a lot of uncertainty about what was going to happen. And this was another one where, genuinely, I think for this album, I was looking to do something really stripped back. And I'll get into that in a little bit. But when JT reached out and said like, hey, like, let's do some songs together, I dug to find stuff that would be better as like a full band arrangement. And this was one of the songs that kind of popped out. I was like, oh yeah, that'd be really cool. And like, I wonder what kind of groove he would do. And he knocked it out of the park. And it was the same kind of recording arrangement. I was doing acoustic and vocals live while he was doing drums. And I just kind of built everything else around it. So I did the bass and electric guitars and pedal steel later, and Charlie sang on it. She also sang on Cherry Blossom. She sings, if you hear harmonies on the record, it's most likely her. There's a couple of like low ones that I did, but other than that, she's all over it. So, and we did those obviously like kind of outside of the studio, but yeah, this one was in River Rock, and it was a lot of fun. Just that whole day was really fun. And I ended up booking more time at River Rock just to do the rest of the batch of songs. And yeah, I'll get into that because that's starting on the next song. So, but this one and Torn Away and Cherry Blossom are two of the songs that don't really have any orchestration. It's just like a band song. And I felt like I needed a couple of those. I didn't want to do a full Randy Newman record, but we get pretty close. So let's move on. We'll move on.
Waves will crash up on the shore, drag the sand to raise the ocean's floor. The future's hazy, that's always true, but I'll never stop loving you.
The next song is I'll Never Stop Loving You, and this one was one that really actually made me want to make this record like initially I didn't really like, I was kind of wandering aimlessly, but this song was kind of inspired because I was listening to a lot of Gillian Welch, specifically the album Time the Revelator. And I mean, I was just nonstop listening to that record, and I just wanted to do something like really simple and really stripped back and do that intentionally. I think I have started records, pretty much every record in my like solo career that way. Or like if you're an old Costa head, the Me as a Pilot stuff, I always start being like, oh yeah, I just want to do this like really simple. And then I'll like layer everything, and maybe I need 4 guitar parts, and maybe there should be keys here, and maybe there should be a loop in the background, and let's double the drums. Why not? So like it just kind of builds and goes out of control. And so this one I really wanted very controlled, very stripped back, very simple. I booked some time at River Rock to do another batch of songs that I was actually hoping to just kind of finish the record, which I got pretty close. Actually, yeah, pretty much every other song. All of the piano ballads were done by Jacob Pavic, which I should have mentioned on When the Lights Go Out. Jacob Pavic plays the piano. If you hear a piano ballad with strings, it's Pavic on piano, and we did those at Midwestern Records. Brady Moen produced those. These ones, were River Rock, and Kevin Israel did those. He engineered those, and they were really fun. So yeah, we did I'll Never Stop Loving You. We did Holy Smokes. We did When Our Luck Turns Around, and we did Thunder that day. So all live. I think I did like 3 takes at most for most of them. Otherwise it was like first or second take. Actually, Kevin kept on making me do extra takes just to be like, you might be glad that you did it. And I think this song actually was one where I'm like, I'm actually glad I did that extra take, because that was the one we used. And also on this song, this one and Sierra feature a bass player named Cat Popper. And Cat Popper has played with people like Jack White and Nora Jones and Willie Nelson, and a whole bunch of other people. And she's really an incredible bass player. I was kind of in this mode of being like, I'm just gonna ask people for things, like just in general in life, and just like, shoot for the stars. And if people say no, then like whatever. It was kind of like rejection therapy or something. And in that, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna ask Cat Popper if she'd play on my record. And I forgot specifically what I said in the email, but she said that she laughed at it, and that she was like, oh, I mean, yeah, okay. That was a pretty good email. So yeah, I'll play on your record. It's, here's my rates. So that was super cool. And I got her to play on this song. So she's playing upright bass, stand-up bass, the big bass. So, and I just really love this song. I think it's a really like beautiful, simple, easy song. And it's one of my favorites.
Holy smokes, let's hear those lungs that your mama gave you, belted out. I wanna hear you from 1,000 miles out. Oh, good grief, come and hold me in your knees, drift to sleep. Let me hold on to this feeling that will not slowly turn into your nightmare. I just wanna stay here Tell me anything you want. Anything you want, I'll do. I just wanna get back home with you.
The next song is a song called Holy Smokes, and I think this one is, I mean, I'm probably going to say this about a lot of the songs, but I think this one is one of my favorites on the record. I wrote this at a point in time where we were kind of wandering aimlessly around the West Coast. We were just house sitting and pet sitting for random strangers for a long time. And it was kind of a period of uncertainty and uncomfortableness, and just the song kind of longs for simplicity and less excitement. So it's a lot of like the old-timey exclamations are there, because it's just like kind of what it felt like. It was just like, oh my God, there it is. Holy smokes. Gee willikers kind of thing. So, and it was just like nonstop that way for a long time. And, you know, when you're with somebody that you love and you are experiencing really stressful situations, you kind of long for a time where everybody is just calm and comfortable. And so that is kind of the rundown on that. It was also done live in River Rock. It did. It was one that I sent to Trevor. I had like the least idea for this one of what Trevor would do. For a lot of the songs, I kind of had these directions for things. There was like for the song, for When the Lights Go Out, I mean, I sent him a whole bunch of Randy Newman songs, basically. And then there's a song called Poppies, that's been out for a while. I just I told him to think about like the Willy Wonka soundtrack, like the original one with Gene Wilder. I referenced the Willy Wonka soundtrack a lot, actually, now that I think about it, but I digress. So for this one, I wasn't sure what he was going to do, and what he ended up coming up with was so good that it kind of became like the predominant driving sound of this song. Like the guitar it's there, but it's not the centerpiece at all. You know, it's very much just like orchestra. I played piano on this one, and like that's there too. There's some stand-up bass from William Kerrigan, another fantastic bass player on this one. Yeah, I don't know. I just really love this song. I sent the record to Richard Edwards, who he sings in the band Margot and the Nuclear So-and-Sos. And he, he's also a phenomenal solo artist. He's been on the podcast. He's one of my favorite songwriters of all time. And I kind of just, sent him the record thinking like, he might not listen to this, but if he does, that'd be cool. And I sent it to him, and like about 20 minutes later, he just sent me, holy shit, dude. And then he posted on his story a clip, like he did a screen recording of this song. He's like, I probably shouldn't be posting this, but this song made me cry. And I was just like, oh my God, thank you, man. And he just sent me a picture of him with a tear in his eye. And he just said, you did this to me, you motherfucker. So I took that as one of the highest compliments you could possibly get. And that, I think that helps with this one being one of my favorite songs on the record.
We'll grow older and rounder and grayer, pick our teeth out of boredom, I swear. bury fistfuls of seeds in the ground when our luck turns around.
All right, the next song is When Our Luck Turns Around, and kind of similar thematically with Holy Smokes. You know, it's just that, like, you know, longing for boredom, you know, wanting things to not be so exciting and not in the good way. You know, there's the line, I pray for boredom, I pray for sun. I'm not a praying man, but I'm praying some. And that was a pretty good summary of how I was feeling at the time. And you know, it's kind of like a love song. Like, oh man, it's kind of like a wouldn't it be nice, you know, like the Beach Boys kind of thing there. But you know, maybe a little more country. It started as very much like a country or folk song. And then when Trevor started kind of working on the string arrangements for it, I started kind of hearing it as like a, like, what if this was playing in an Italian restaurant? So I think there's a bit of that in there. I asked Trevor for mandolin, and he found a great mandolin player, and the strings, you know, this one's a little bit more pared back as far as the string arrangement goes. It's not like, you know, full orchestral. It's just like, you know, a couple violins and accordion, which Trevor plays beautifully, and that mandolin. And I love it. I think this one has such a cool vibe. It'll kind of start the side B of the record, which I think that this record has very much like a first half and a back half, a front half and back half, I guess. And then they have like very distinct feelings. I think the back half is like a lot more slow and somber, and the front half has a little bit more energy, a little more liveliness to it. It's got more JT on it, which is great. JT does show up on the song Sierra, which we'll get to in just a second. But yeah, that's When Our Luck Turns Around.
Tailing in the motorcade, 35 on the freeway. I've never worn a suit quite this nice before, and I can't wait to get it off me. I open my eyes to rain. The weatherman said it would all day.
The next song is Poppies. Poppies has been out for a little while. It's the single from the record that is, I think, performing the best. And I've had multiple people kind of who have heard the record in advance tell me that this is their favorite song on the record. And I'm proud of that. I think it's a really beautiful song. As I said before, for like string arrangements, I kept on referencing Willy Wonka, specifically like in the bridge. There's kind of this like wandering violin solo, and it builds and builds and builds, and I actually wanted it to go for a very long time and really get out of control. I think I said I wanted it to kind of be like A Day in the Life by the Beatles, but then also the scene in Willy Wonka where they're going through the tunnel and there's like the projections on all of them, and there's like the worms crawling around, and it's gross and it's weird and it's scary. And like, that was kind of what I wanted. And I think Trevor did a good job of making it not scary, but still intense. And then when it gets out of there, I said I wanted it to be like the part in Willy Wonka where they're in the glass elevator and it shoots out of the building and they're flying above the town. Because I think that's just such a beautiful moment. And I think he did a great job. I think the orchestration on this one and the arrangement is really outstanding. I think Trevor outdid himself on this one. And then, as far as the song's meaning, I've been pretty open about that. It is about the day of my brother's funeral. So the first part of it is kind of like leaving. It wasn't like a church. It was like a funeral home. But it was like leaving there. We got in this, kind of like a party bus. And it was my first time and last time ever being in a motorcade. And I didn't realize like how slow it was. And that was like, adding a level of anxiety on top of everything. 'Cause I'm just like, oh my God, we are holding up traffic. We're in the back. So we're like getting tailgated. The second verse is kind of that like weird feeling of, you have this heaviness and this deep sadness, but you're also having the nostalgia of going to your hometown, and like reliving all of these like very silly experiences. I was such a dumb kid. And we did so much stupid stuff in that town. And, you're driving down Highway 36 and you're seeing all this stuff, like that was high score where I used to bring my Pokemon cards to trade in. And, that's the bowling alley where we would go and play the claw machine until we ran out of money. And, there's the Taco Bell where, we would sneak out and get stoned and, spend $10 and get more Taco Bell than you could possibly eat, because those were the days. And, it's a really weird feeling to have that kind of like sweet nostalgia, in that moment, and like, I think I was thinking about the times with my brother, but, my brain was kind of like trying to not think about him also at the same time. There was like houses and stuff like that we used to live in that we drove by and kind of like loosely, or like our old neighborhoods, and that popped into my head. But I think I was trying to think of things that didn't involve him in that moment, because it was such a heavy time. And then the last one is like the actual burial at the cemetery, and kind of the heaviness and all the stages of grief that kind of go along with it. There's anger in it, and there's frustration, and there's sadness, and there's a lot happening just in that short verse. So it's a heavy song, especially coming from When Our Luck Turns Around, which is like sonically maybe in comparison a little silly. There's this one, but I'm really proud of this song, and I love it a lot.
Sierra, I miss you. The view from that peak, the city below us, the noise in the streets. Sierra, I'm crazy for letting you go, but you will never mind to hold. Sierra, I'm crazy for letting you go.
The next song is Sierra. Sierra is written about this house in Los Angeles, where it was the first place that Charlie and I lived when we moved to LA. And it's like this gorgeous duplex on the top of a hill. And it was just really peaceful, and we moved there in 2020, so it was like a really tumultuous time. And there was parts about it that weren't peaceful, but there were a lot of things about it that were very relaxing and kind of needed in a time like that. Like there was a pool out back, and we went from living in Minnesota to living in Los Angeles, so there was finally vitamin D, which is great. And there was a lot of great stuff that kind of came out of that time, and also really terrible stuff. But it had this that was the house that I made the album Sun Bleach in, and there's a lot of like records that came out around that time that I still love a lot and still bring me back to that time, like Shore by Fleet Foxes and Women in Music Part 3 by Haim. And it was just like a really cool time. And, we were in this kind of period of uncertainty and aimless wandering, and we didn't know where we were going. And so this was kind of written in a moment of like remembering one of the places that we had been, and kind of missing that early part of it, where it was still really exciting, and we didn't see the negative parts of it, and we didn't experience kind of some of the more negative sides of that time period. We were just like experiencing a lot of really nice things. We went to the farmer's market. I was experiencing legal weed for the first time, which was fun. So there was a lot of interesting stuff there. So and so that's kind of the what that one's about. And that one has this is the song on the record that has JT Bates and Cat Popper playing with me, which is so cool. What a team. What a rhythm section. And for the string arrangements, I remember telling Trevor I really wanted like a major key Eleanor Rigby thing happening, and I think he did a great job. It's got this kind of just like boom, 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 boom. But he also does these moments where it's just really flowy, and that was another Willy Wonka one, is the bridge. I had written the bridge on guitar, and as we were tracking it, me and JT were tracking it, I decided not to play it on guitar, because I was gonna just like overdub it on electric or something, or maybe I would do it on piano instead. And so I just kind of played the guitar part, just simple chords. And once Trevor reached out, I was like, oh, what would be great is if we could do this melody that I wrote, but with strings. And he did a great job kind of doing that. A lot of my string ideas too, I just sang into like my computer mic. And so it'd just be me doing like 4-part harmonies and just being like, does this make sense? Cause I can't write music. Or can't read music or write on like, sheet music or anything like that. So I just had to be like, can you figure this out? And he did it. He did a great job. So, I really love this song. It's just like a really simple one. And I remember being so stoked when I wrote it too. So I'm glad that it's out there in the world now.
There's a place sometimes I dream of. It's a house as white as snow, and the trim is a deep ocean blue, and there's a garden I'd planted for you. There's a garden I planted for you.
The next song is Habanero, and this one kind of came from a dream I had where Charlie and I had grown old, and it was like this really beautiful dream. And I woke up feeling so good about it, and I remember it so vividly still. And I wrote this song, and Charlie says that it's very sad, but I don't think it is. She had me test run it with a couple of friends as well, and they actually all agreed with her that it is indeed sad. But from my perspective, it was a really sweet dream, and there was this house and this big, huge garden, and it was like kind of in the countryside, and I don't know. It's so weird. Like, I feel weird just like describing a dream that I had like 4 years ago or something. But yeah, it was a powerful enough dream for me to write a song about it, and kind of have this moment of sweetness, in my opinion, at least. And as far as the song goes, I wrote this on piano. I wrote a couple of the songs on piano. This one and Poppies were actually going to be on the Lull records, but I just wanted to write words to them. Like, they just felt like they needed words. So the demos are actually like really weird instrumentation. This one had like a drum machine on it. And then like this really verbed out piano, and I did some string arrangements, just fake strings, but I really love what Trevor did a whole lot more. I didn't play the piano on this one. This one again is Jacob Pavic, and I remember sending him these songs and like sending him the demo for this, and he's just like, well, I mean, you're playing piano pretty good on this. Why don't you just play the piano? And I had to be like, because I like the way that you play the piano. Like, you're better at this. This is what you do. I don't do this. So like, I'm so glad that he did it, because there's some like little fancy fills and stuff that he does in there that I really love. And yeah, and the arrangements are just so beautiful. It kind of feels like a soundtrack, like a movie soundtrack song. I feel like every record I have a song where I was going for the Lost soundtrack, like the TV show Lost, and this is that one for this one. But I don't know. I really like this one. And it was originally actually like a very, very originally a much faster kind of folky song. And I ended up scrapping that whole idea, but I liked the lyrics of it, so I just kind of repurposed it into this song, this piano tune, and I think it turned out really cool.
There's a storm I'm riding on, hucking down rain in a lightning ball. Yippee-yi-yay, yippee-yi-oh. I made a lot of thunder, can you hear it roll?
That brings us to the last song, which is Thunder. Yeah, this one actually I remember writing after. Okay, well, actually, I should back up. I do these things that I call deep dives for artists that I feel like I have kind of a blind spot on. Since I started this podcast, I don't do it as frequently, but I do like, you know, have artists that I don't really know too much about. You know, the most recent ones I can think of are Billy Joel. I listened to his whole discography. I listened to all of Dolly Parton's records, which was wild. There's like 100 and something of them. And Steely Dan was one of them. I could go, there's a lot of them, but one of the most profound ones was Willie Nelson. And Willie Nelson also has hundreds of records. And I really connected with pretty much every single one. Every record he has. I mean, he's pumping out so many records in a year that they sound similar. So there's like very defined eras. So like, you know, you have the early days, and Then I Wrote, and you know, is one of my favorite records, and like those kind of early kind of crooner country songs, those classic Nashville. And then you have like the quote unquote outlaw era where he's doing Shotgun Willie, or some might include like Yesterday's Wine in there. That kind of time period where he starts branching out and getting weird. Redheaded Stranger, of course, is in there. It's depending on the day, it's my favorite record ever made. Kind of tied with Ram by Paul McCartney. Paul and Linda McCartney, I should say. And yeah, it's, I was really getting very invested in like the simplicity of those songs, but how willing he was to kind of branch out with production. But this isn't a Willie Nelson podcast. If there's somebody out there that wants to talk about Willie Nelson for an episode, though, I would be so stoked. We could do a series. Anyway, I got to this record where it was the VH1 Storytellers record with him and Johnny Cash, and they start with Ghost Riders in the Sky. And I had remembered that song from Blues Brothers, I think, where they're playing at like the blues bar or like the country bar, and there's the chicken wire or something like that. And I remember hearing that song that time with those two playing it just themselves and thinking like, this is such a beautiful, powerful song. And you know, I was writing this song, and it was in that open C tuning, which I ended up not using the tuning. I actually just switched it to standard for this record for all the songs. But I was playing in that open C tuning, and I came up with the verse, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I hit the chorus, and I was like, thunder, can you hear it roll? And I remember hitting the thunder part, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then it reminded me of Ghost Riders in the Sky. And so as a placeholder, kind of, I did, yippee-yi-yi, yippee-yi-oh, I made a lot of thunder, can you hear it roll? And then I just liked it. I thought that was just kind of cool. And so I kept it. And that was it. I had meant to replace them at some point, but I just never did. And so this one is kind of, it's like a orchestral country tune in my mind. It's, really simple acoustic guitar. I think I played like I have a 74 Guild D25M that I adore, and it's the main guitar on this record. But I think for all of the separate, the second session from River Rock, I played this other Guild. Hold on, I'm going to pause this and I'm going to look it up real quick. Yeah, okay. It was a Guild M20. It was a mahogany, kind of OM style, M20. And I remember the studio had it, and I really wanted to play that because Rocky Vodolato plays one, who also has been on the show. And actually on the episode with Rocky, after we were recording, I had to ask him about it, and he had it hanging up behind him, and he busted it out, and he showed me like all these like cool things about it. He told me how he got it. It was so cool. And I remember being like, Rocky plays one, I should play that. And I remember strumming this song and being like, that's perfect. That's the sound. That's what I've heard in my head. I'm gonna just play this one. So this song, I'll Never Stop Loving You, and When Our Luck Turns Around, I think are all this guitar. So Holy Smokes I did on my D25M though, because I love that thing, and all the rest of the acoustic is the D25M, but like kind of the more like solo acoustic tunes, those are the Guild M20. And yeah, it's got Trevor's beautiful orchestral arrangement, William Kerrigan again playing stand-up bass, Charlie again singing the harmonies on there, and I played piano on this one, which I really like a lot. This one actually is the closest to the demo too. There really wasn't too much extra to add except for what Trevor tossed on there, and in the harmonies that Charlie did. But yeah, other than that, this is as close to the demo as it gets.
So long to gold records, here's a gold star, some credit to show you how talented you are. So long to chart stoppers, for some they're heart stoppers, they'll never get played at the ball, but they're not making records for dancing after all.
And that's the record. That's the new record. I hope that you take the time to listen to it. It's short. It's not a long record. It's 10 songs. It's 34 minutes. I am a very big advocate for the digestible record. I think I saw that Morgan Wallen put out a record that was 2 hours long, and just, God, my eyes rolled out of my skull. So I'm anti that. I'm pro 10 songs in 30 minutes. So please just take the time, pop it on. I hope you like it. I hope you actually like sit down and give it a listen and like crank it and like, turn the lights down low, pop a couple candles on, open a bottle of Topo Chico, and just like really take it in, skip one episode of a Netflix show and listen to this instead. And I think that it's really an experience to listen to, and I'm really proud of it. And it moves in all these different ways, and it's a roller coaster of emotions. And yeah, gosh, I'm just really proud of it. So I hope you like it. If you do end up liking it, there's vinyl for sale. There's CDs for sale. I still have some t-shirts left. They'll all be on my website, nick-costa.com. And yeah, also just pop it on a playlist and just have it playing on repeat while you work or something like that, so that the algorithm thinks that I'm doing a good job. And that's it. Thanks so much. Enjoy the record.